the power of speaking fast. Everyone in the small city believed that English was a difficult language, meant only for smart people or those who studied in big schools. Especially in big schools. Among them was a young man named Saad, who understood English well but struggled to speak it. His problem was not vocabulary or grammar. His problem was speed. He thought too much before speaking, checking every sentence in his mind. Afraid of making mistakes. Because of this, his words came out slowly, or sometimes not at all. Saad worked at a small office, where English was often used in emails and meetings. When it was time to speak, his heart beat faster and his mind became heavy. He knew what he wanted to say, but fear blocked his voice. He watched his coworkers speak quickly, even when their English was not perfect. They made mistakes, but they were confident. Saad wondered why. Speed gave them power, while silence made him invisible. One evening, after a difficult day, Saad met his old friend Imran at a tea shop. Imran spoke English easily, without stopping or correcting himself. Saad asked him his secret. Imran smiled and said, "I stopped caring about perfection. I speak fast, so my fear cannot catch me." Those words stayed in Saad's mind. That night, he decided to change his approach. The next morning, Saad tried something new. When a colleague asked him a question in English, he answered quickly, without planning too much. His sentence was simple, and yes, it had mistakes. But the message was clear. The colleague nodded and replied normally. No one laughed. No one judged him. Saad felt surprised and relieved. For the first time, English felt lighter. Days passed, and Saad practiced speaking fast whenever he could. He talked to himself while walking, described his day in English, and spoke out loud, even when he was alone. At first, his sentences were broken. And sometimes he repeated words, but speed helped him stay confident. When he spoke fast, his fear had no time to grow. Slowly, Saad noticed a change. His mind became calmer. He stopped translating from his native language and started thinking directly in English. Speaking fast trained his brain to react, not to overthink. English was no longer a test. It became a tool to share ideas. One day, Saad was asked to speak in a small office meeting. In the past, he would have avoided it. This time, he stood up and spoke without stopping. His voice was steady, and his words flowed naturally. He did not aim for perfection. He aimed for clarity. When he finished, the room was quiet for a moment. Then people nodded in agreement. That moment filled him with confidence. Outside the office, Saad also noticed changes. He could talk to strangers. order food in English, and even help others who were learning. He realized that speaking fast did not mean speaking carelessly. It meant trusting yourself enough to move forward. Speed gave him courage, and courage brought improvement. Saad also learned an important lesson. Speaking fast did not mean rushing. It meant not stopping yourself with fear. Mumjan. When you speak fast, you accept mistakes as part of learning. You allow your voice to grow stronger with practice. Every fast sentence became a step toward fluency. Months later, Saad met Imran again at the same tea shop. This time, Saad was the one speaking confidently. He thanked his friend and shared his journey. Imran listened and smiled. "You found your voice," he said. Saad realized that the power of speaking fast was not just about language. It was about believing in yourself. Saad's story slowly inspired others. His co-workers began speaking more freely too. They stopped correcting every word and started focusing on communication. The office became a place where ideas flowed easily without fear. English was no longer a wall, it was a bridge. In the end, Saad understood that fluency does not come from silence or perfection. It comes from action. When you speak fast, you train your mind, build confidence, and break fear. Fear. The power of speaking fast is the power to express yourself, to be heard, and to grow. And sometimes the fastest way to learn is simply to start speaking. As Saad's confidence grew, he began to notice something deeper, changing inside him. Speaking fast was not only helping his English, it was changing how he saw himself. He no longer felt small in conversations. When ideas came to his mind, he trusted them enough to speak. Even when his sentences were not perfect, his message carried strength. He understood that speed was breaking the chains of fear that had held him for years. Said decided to help himself improve even more. Every morning, he spent 10 minutes speaking English out loud, about anything he saw around him. He spoke about the weather, his plans, his work, and even his feelings. He did not stop to correct himself. He did not open a dictionary, he just spoke. This daily habit made his tongue faster and his mind sharper. English slowly became natural, like a flowing river instead of a blocked road. One evening, Saad was asked to help train a new employee who was nervous about speaking English. He saw his old self in that person. Instead of teaching grammar rules, Saad shared one simple advice: speak fast and do not be afraid. The new employee smiled, tried, and made mistakes, but also made progress. Said realized that the power he had gained was now something he could pass on to others. Over time, Saad was invited to join bigger meetings and discussions. He spoke with confidence, not because he knew everything, but because he trusted his voice. People listened to him. Some even asked how he became so comfortable with English. Lam. Saad always gave the same answer. I stopped waiting for perfect words. I started speaking fast. One day, Saad was asked to give a short presentation. You know, standing in front of many people once terrified him. Now, he took a deep breath and began. His words flowed freely. He made small mistakes, but he did not stop. The audience understood him clearly. When he finished, the applause felt warm and real. In that moment, Saad knew how far he had come. Bond. Saad also learned that speaking fast did not mean losing meaning. Instead, it helped him find clarity. When fear disappeared, his thoughts became cleaner. His sentences became smoother with practice. Speed brought confidence, and confidence brought improvement. Looking back, Saad smiled at his old silence. He understood now that language is not about being perfect. It is about connection. Speaking fast helped him connect with people, share ideas, and feel alive in conversations. Manda. The power of speaking fast was the power to move forward without fear. In the end, Saad believed one simple truth. You do not become fluent by waiting. Dumdrit, you become fluent by speaking. When you speak fast, you train your mind, free your voice, and discover your true strength. And that is the real power of speaking fast. Okay? As time passed, Saad noticed that speaking fast also changed the way people reacted to him. Earlier, he felt invisible in group conversations, but now people looked at him when he spoke. Humder. They waited for his opinion. This gave him a sense of belonging. He understood that when you speak with flow, people feel your confidence, even if your English is simple. Saad also started listening differently. Because he spoke faster, he listened more carefully to others. His brain learned patterns of English naturally. Langand. He picked up common phrases, expressions, and sentence flow without memorizing rules, speaking fast and listening well. Work together like two strong wings, helping him fly. Tundra. One day, Saad made a big mistake while speaking in a meeting. The sentence came out wrong, and everyone noticed. For a moment, the old fear returned. But instead of stopping, Saad smiled and continued speaking. The mistake passed like a small wave. The meeting moved on. That moment taught him something powerful. When mistakes lose their power. When you do not stop because of them. Outside work, Saad began using English in daily life. He spoke to shopkeepers, helped tourists, and even made new friends online. Gemmed. He did not worry about accent or grammar. He focused on speed, clarity, and meaning. English slowly became part of his life, not a subject to fear. Lomzad realized that many people fail to speak English, not because they lack knowledge, but because they wait too long to speak. Thinking too much creates fear. Speaking fast breaks it. Speed keeps the mind moving forward and stops doubt from growing. One evening, Saad sat alone and thought about his journey. Lands. He understood that speaking fast was not about talking without sense. It was about trusting yourself enough to try. Every fast sentence was a step. Every step was progress. Many. In the end, Saad believed that the power of speaking fast is simple but deep. It gives you confidence, helps your mind think clearly, and turns fear into action. Bakht. When you speak fast, you choose courage over silence. And with courage, learning never stops. Saad's journey did not stop there. As his confidence increased, he began to notice how speaking fast changed his inner voice too. Rok. Ikuru. Earlier, his thoughts were slow and full of doubt. Now, his mind felt active and positive. He started believing that he deserved to be heard. English was no longer a barrier standing in front of him. It became a bridge that connected him to people, ideas, and opportunities. One weekend, Saad joined a small community group where people practiced English conversation. Monst. Many members were shy and afraid to speak. Saad remembered his past clearly. When his turn came, he spoke freely and naturally, without pauses or fear. Others listened with interest. After the session, a few people came to him and said, "You speak so confidently. How did you learn?" Saad smiled and gave them the same simple advice that changed his life. Do not wait. Speak fast. Saad started helping the group regularly. He encouraged everyone to speak without stopping, even if their sentences were simple. At first, people felt uncomfortable, jammed, but slowly they improved. The room filled with voices, laughter, and confidence. Saad saw how powerful this habit was, not only for him, but for everyone. One day, Saad was invited to speak at a small event about learning English. Standing on the stage, he felt nervous, but he did not let fear slow him down. He spoke with speed, clarity, and honesty. He shared his story, his mistakes, and his lesson. People listened closely. Some nodded. Some smiled. At the end, the applause felt strong and sincere. After the event, many people thanked him. They said his words gave them courage. Saad realized that speaking fast had given him more than fluency, and it gave him purpose. His voice was now helping others find theirs. At night, Saad thought about how far he had come, from silence to confidence, from fear to freedom. Lanced. He understood one powerful truth. Language grows when you use it, not when you hide it. Speed pushes you forward when doubt tries to pull you back. Bant. In the end, Saad knew that the power of speaking fast is not about speaking more than others. It is about freeing yourself from fear. When you speak fast, you trust your voice, accept mistakes, and move forward. And when you move forward, learning becomes endless. As Saad became more confident, he also became more patient with himself. Lamist. He understood that fluency is a journey, not a sudden change. Some days he spoke very smoothly, and other days he struggled. But now, he did not stop. Mungja, he kept speaking fast, even on bad days. He learned that consistency was more important than perfection. Saad began to notice how speaking fast helped him think clearly. Band. When he spoke without long pauses, his ideas became simpler and stronger. He stopped searching for difficult words and started using easy ones. This made his English more natural and more powerful. Meaned. People understood him better because his message was clear, not complicated. One afternoon, a young student approached Saad after a conversation session. Mauned. The student said he was afraid to speak because people might laugh at him. Saad listened carefully and shared his own fear from the past. He said, "Fear grows in silence. Tomja, when you speak fast, fear does not get time to grow." The student tried speaking faster, and his face slowly filled with confidence. Saad felt proud, not of his English, but of his growth. At work, Saad was given more responsibility. He was asked to explain ideas, guide discussions, and communicate with new people. English was now part of his strength, not his weakness. Lummed, speaking fast, helped him stay calm under pressure. His voice carried confidence, even in difficult moments. Saad also realized that speaking fast taught him to accept mistakes. Mond earlier, one mistake could stop him completely. Now, mistakes passed like clouds in the sky. He learned that people care more about understanding than perfection. Lamja. When he focused on meaning, communication became easy. One quiet evening, Saad remembered the time when he was afraid to say even one sentence. Und. That memory felt far away. He smiled and understood that change happens when action replaces fear. Speaking fast was that action that pushed him forward every time. Doubt tried to stop him. In the end, Saad believed that the power of speaking fast is a gift anyone can use. It does not need talent or expensive education. It only needs courage. Momde. When you speak fast, you choose confidence over fear, action over silence, and growth over comfort. And that choice can change everything. With time, Saad noticed that speaking fast also helped him enjoy conversations. Earlier, speaking English felt like a test he might fail. Now, it felt like a game he was learning every day. Then he laughed more, shared stories, and even joked in English. The fear that once lived in his chest slowly disappeared, replaced by excitement and curiosity. Lond. Said began reading short English stories and speaking them out loud. He did not stop to understand every word. He focused on flow. This practice made his pronunciation better and his confidence stronger. He realized that speed trained his mouth and mind to work together. The more he spoke, the easier it became. One day, Saad met someone who spoke English perfectly but very slowly. The sentences were correct, but the conversation felt heavy. In that moment, Saad understood something important. Communication is not only about correctness, it is about energy. Speaking fast brings life into words. It keeps conversations moving and people connected. Saad also learned to forgive himself quickly. When he made a mistake, he did not repeat it in his mind again and again. He moved forward. This habit gave him peace. Speaking fast taught him to live in the moment, not in fear of the past or worry about the future. At home, Saad encouraged his younger brother to speak English freely. They practiced together, speaking fast and laughing at mistakes. English became a shared journey, not a lonely struggle. Saad felt happy, knowing that his growth was now helping someone else. As months passed, Saad realized that the power of speaking fast was changing his personality, too. He became more open, more confident, and more willing to try new things. English was no longer just a language. It was a tool that helped him grow as a person. Looking at his journey, Saad understood one final truth. When you speak fast, you choose action over fear. You give yourself permission to learn. And when you allow yourself to learn without fear, progress becomes natural. In the end, Saad believed that anyone can find this power. You do not need perfect grammar or a strong accent. You only need the courage to open your mouth and speak. Speak fast, trust yourself, and let your voice grow. That is the true power of speaking fast.